Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. And in today's video we're going to be looking at some stuff in Africa as well as something in Europe. And the first thing first, last time we saw that all this kind of broke away. And we're going to see a little bit more of that Cyan team officially gone. But this team is rebranding into the Cyan team, as they say. Basically, they're going to be calling themselves like Cyan team, even though a lot of the other people would probably be a better suit. Like this team right here, for instance. I would probably call this the Cyan team, but they're going to be claiming it up for the Cyan team. And that's going to make a lot of nearby countries mad because they're like older than them and they have more history with the Cyan team. So they're going to be mad, but they can't really do anything. And down here we see, so I just want to point that out. Down here we see a new Cyan team that has nothing to do with the old one, just like with a lot of the colors. But it's going to be like breaking away from this team up here in the most northern provinces that they just got. And eventually a little bit more too. And then this pink team that's really like underdeveloped tries to join the war on the side of no one really. They just want the land, the more developed land. And then they don't go through very far until the Cyan team starts pushing back. And it's pretty bad. But then the Dark Cyan team comes up through here. And eventually they take some of the purple team's land. Like that. So eventually waiting. By the end of this, there's going to be the new country right here, which gets all this land. And their major city going to be right there on the border. Just like that. And this problem is going to be now split up. And it's going to be split up into something like this. There's not this new provinces, as well as the main big province like that actually goes through the major city. So major city, like four-way province section right here in the middle where all these four provinces meet, which isn't really the best spot to place the capital, but it's there. And I'm going to be fixing up some of this ocean stuff. And that's a little bit better. But now, so the Dark Cyan team down here kind of traded for the land. So that worked out for them. And next, we see the red team doing some expansion into this Cyan team. And they're doing pretty well. They immediately go in. They also kind of like fund like a rebel terrorist group in the country, which isn't the best, but they do get more land. So they get probably about up to this much in the peace treaty. And there's like a new rebel group. And yeah, like I said, like a terrorist group. and they're just like killing civilians, which is not good. Yeah. And they go in. Eventually, they get aid because they were in alliance with, they were in alliance with, I'm pretty sure, the Spanish team. So they're sending forces over to here. And eventually, they take back the province, this, and a little bit more around there. And they eventually do get rid of the terrorist group and colonize. They had Korea. I'm sure to cover that in. That's not good, but there's some of these islands that are theirs. And Patriots gonna look something like this with red team gaining this land. Which looks pretty similar to how much they had. Eventually though, the red team is going to do something pretty insane, and eventually it has come to an agreement where they're going to split up, they're going to unify, and now they have all this land, as well as in the unification they also demand these little pieces of land from their puppet. So they take about all of that. Eventually, and yeah. So now the red team is looking ginormous compared to the beginning of this episode, as it now has all of Turkey, and it also has control of the Caspian Sea, and eventually it's going to sign a occupation treaty with the brown team for them to have this much more land. Technically, the land is still the red team's, but they're going to be giving it to the brown team so that they don't collapse with all their new land that they just got. And the next thing that's going to be happening is we're going to look at new countries that formed from the brown team. And this one over here is going to be invading under this one. And it takes the capital of it, which is like a pretty big capital, and it all surrenders over. And now we have a new country on the map. Oh, a bigger country on the map anyway. Just like that. And now we're down a few countries than the start of the episode. And we gained a country and we lost 2 countries. And that's going to be a big effect. But eventually, up here, the green team's just going to get mad. And the green team's going to declare war so that they can get some of these provinces that they think is rightfully theirs. That should have been theirs from the peace treaty. And they're going to march in. But eventually, they liberate their old pal. Eventually, yeah, they get liberated up here, and they get the major city back. And eventually, it's looking like this, and they give up these provinces. And the green team takes this one, leaving this last province to this team. And then we can put their capital in. Right back in there. And now we're split up in this region. Next, we see a big thing happening with the Russian team as separatist movements start occurring in this side of the country. And this is going to be a very major event with a little piece of it trying to break away. Now, this rebellion is instantly squashed, and it's not going to happen again, at least for a while. But that's just something to take note of. But another thing that we see was the original, if you remember, these provinces right here used to be a part of another country when they unified. Then they unified with the Russian team. So yes, the Russian team is a union. And kind of a lot of major countries in the world are right now. So the Russian team, union. They, union. Another union is right here. And the red team. Australian team is a union. Let's see. That's probably about all the unions in the world that I can think of. Maybe a few more, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh wait, right here. That's a union. So those are all the unions. And another thing is, kind of instantly, the red team went from a union, and then they got everything rid of that had to do with the other group that would stand for the Turkey area, and they just got rid of it. So now they're not really a union anymore. But that happened. And then one more thing that's happening in Africa. This gold team is gonna invade into this little team. They're going to pretty much instantly take it over. But with the help of some powers from the outside, they do eventually surround the capital, which is a pretty easy thing to do. Just like that. And they eventually take their capital with the help of the outside powers. And then, yeah, we'd kind of go back to the old borders, except it gains that one province, which really isn't a major thing when you look on the world map like this, but it happened. So now we're going to be looking at the Americas right here in this Caribbean country. Just want to make that clear that this is not a puppet. You might have seen the lines from this, but it is not a puppet. So I'm just going to be getting rid of the lines. Just being clear that it's not a puppet. And it does have the capital. Capital right there. And there is another country that we made sure was on the map because you didn't know that was a thing. And now we're just going to have one more thing happening, and it's going to be right here with this country. And it's gonna be breaking up. But basically, it's gonna be a rebellion, and you can't really see it, but eventually, yeah, so you can't see it that well, so we're gonna change it to this deeper color until the end of the war. But it forms like this, and this team is so weak that it just kind of allows that to happen. I mean, they did just fight in a war like over here for this land. They did pretty well with it against this team, and it's a lot stronger than this rebellion. Now they're facing a lot of instability, and eventually it just collapses into multiple pieces with this team right here taking some of the land for themselves as they end up taking some of their old water back. And they end up being left alive with this much land. Which, I mean, they're still alive, but and there we go. And there were lots of short events that happened in this episode, but they were a lot of major ones. I want you to take note. Some major things happened, like the red team, some of the stuff in Africa, as well as Asia. But that's really going to do it for today's episode. It's more of a shorter one. I'm sorry for that. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.